Hello, good day. It's Lee again. I'm here today on Saturday, March 19th, 2011. I'll just throw that date in there just for the fun of it. Not that it really matters, but that's the human terms as we deal with them here. I want to talk today about getting to know, for a person to get to know themselves truly as what they are. There are many parts and pieces that make us up. We are born and then see ourselves as having the body, and we have our mind, our feelings, our needs, our wants. We technically are creatures as far as meaning the root word of creation. We're coming from the Creator in our creations. We are an exhalation from that one being. In this case, we very much, all of us are family. We are all of the same quality. And this one self has expressed itself with that exhalation many times over. So there is an inhalation of thought creativity and an exhalation making that manifest. So I like to always put it in the simple terms of saying that we are, the droplets, the little tiny drops that came off from the ocean. In this sense, truly children of that one God. There's no separation. So I found that there are, pretty much two ways to get to know the self, what you are, who you are, what you're meant for, what are, the purpose of life and the purpose of your life, what you'd like to do with it. So the two ways that I have come to see it is that you can either do the outside in method or the inside to the out method. Interestingly enough, that's kind of how you see the different outlooks from Western quote-unquote cultures versus Eastern quote-unquote cultures and people. Because you have the Eastern types that tended to look within, and then from that point finding the self, wanted to go out and then engage the world, as it were. And in the Western perspective, it seemed that taking a look at things quote-unquote scientifically and discovering things, and by doing that and by manipulating that and discovering that and finding the truth of these things more and more, it points to ultimately who we are as the one looking at it, as the perceiver, as the enjoyer. So it's the two different ways, the inward and the outward funnel. It's kind of like the Star of David, the two triangles interlinked like that. To me, it's that symbol represents sort of that thing. So it's interesting now that as this world is getting, globalized, and wow, it took a long time for us to finally, internationally connect. By struggles, by violence, by oppressions, by confusion, by adaptation, now we're finally starting to be able to have such a wonderful thing like, a means by which we can really engage each other. The internet has been a magical gift from the Divine Creator and has been passed down through various sources to get to where it is now. And now, behold, it is in our hands. What is the ultimate difference of myself and yourself? There is actually very little difference. Only that only you can be you and can control you, and you can choose for you. And I do that for myself. People that are busy trying to impose themselves upon someone else, they have a very difficult time in finding the balance of the inside outwards and the outside to inwards. It seems like they're stuck in the middle and sort of bouncing off, ricocheting. That's why it's said that people that are dictators or monsters or power mongers, they are that because inside that's exactly, of course, what they feel. They're in so much turmoil that they feel that they have to take it out on the world. So the world is like the world is our ocean. The world is also like clay. It's like, building a sand castle. It's a toy, so to speak, building blocks for these children. And it's like we're in daycare and we're trying to figure each other out. Sometimes we fight, sometimes we strike each other, sometimes we scream and cry and get mad. But it really is like that. We are children. And let's look at the parts of yourself. If you close your eyes and stop worrying about what you perceive as the external world for a minute, and sometimes it takes if you get a little bit into meditation, it helps, but you don't have to. We do things when we sleep and dream, right? When you sleep and dream, your conscious part turns off, but you're still existing. Your body is technically lying there breathing, and your heart is beating, and your mind is active, but you are perceived unto yourself in a hibernation state, almost as if you were like you're dead or like in a coma. And you don't stop existing just because your mind turns off and you stop being consciously aware. Now, of course, yes, there's dreams and things too, to prove activity and things going on. Dreams are just, like little snippets of all the activity taking place within ourselves. When we sleep and when we not sleep, because you can have waking dreams also, of course. So, what makes up the person? The you that is you is the soul, the spirit spark, the Atma. You and I are, like we said, pieces of that ocean. So first and foremost, to see it this way, and what will get you to come to terms with that. I like what, I will quote many different sources. I like what, St. Augustine had said, that even though my eyes see and my ears hear, it is the eye that is enjoying it. It is the eye that is witnessing it. Apart from the tool that are doing it, who is the one? It's not the eyes that are seeing for themselves alone. It's if they're separate entities. It's still part of the you. Like the body has many parts that make up the one. So that's a natural proof for the way of showing what we are also in an entirety. So what I mean by that is taking yourself as the you, the enjoyer. Not always enjoy, sometimes we got our troubles also, but to see yourself as emotion and feeling, that is your soul. It's not your body. Your body doesn't feel love or hate or sadness. Your body can feel pain and certain, let's call it non-pains or pleasures, but it itself doesn't have the emotional. This is just part of our body system. We also have the mind. We have the intelligence in the mind, of course. So this is the way of deciding, being consciously aware of things, interacting with phenomena and things we come into contact with. So apart from that, there's also the in-between. So you have your astral self, your body, your mental body, and your astral body. These are parts of you that make up the whole. What's confusing about it is we go towards trying to find out what this is, what it means, and we get into conflicts because we're trying to know too much too fast, or not really look at with great insight into what we are and where we're going. Because there's also purposes. There's also, what is the meaning to your life? A great lie to say, oh, we came from a fish or a little organism. A lot of people still believe in this. Well, I'll just like to call it a blatant lie. The fact of that happening and that as its own entity evolving into something. But what would be the point of you evolving into something if you stopped existing? And it just meant for the next one to continue, like holding on the torch and then the flame that is you is dead. There would be no desire to improve if there is not meant for you also individually to enjoy it. Something, in other words, something will not promote itself or hope for something if there is not something to look forward to, for you to enjoy, for you to witness. Like what Thomas Aquinas would say, you cannot hope for something that doesn't exist. So basically saying that we hope to aspire towards things, to be somewhere in the future, to gain something, because we know that's forward, the forwardness of ourselves, to put it in strange terms. We enjoy these things. We are aspiring to these things because we will get there. You know, some people in other countries who are in, you know, a more difficult situation, third world countries, you know, and things like this, they will look forward to enjoying, you know, a more relative ease, and they will. Because you and I, who are in the more privileged areas, we too have been in those situations. We have earned our stripes. They're earning their stripes. Everyone is created equal. We can't forget those basic truths, those mantras of God that are universal truths. Everyone is created equal because we will all end up attaining the same result. When we have our own godlike nature. You know, why would we, I like what the poet, he's probably still not that well known, and he was a Portuguese poet who went by the pen name, at least, apart from many names he gave himself within that overall personage, Fernando Pessoa, I hope I pronounced that correctly, saying we do not want to stop until we are nothing short of being God. Why this technological advancement? Why this spirituality? Why these thoughts? Why these hopes and dreams? We don't just want to stay in the now. We want to attain our own divinity. That's who and what we are. Is spirit sparks, expressions of the one same Father, Mother, the it, the is, the being. We are the individual expressions. We are expressing ourselves from that source. At first going out and then trying to connect back in to a oneness. Now, it's hard and yet wonderful with the privilege we have with this internet, with being able to connect to each other. I hope that more and more countries, and a lot of countries that have been kept with very much an umbrella over them, are coming out and discovering that they do want to globally engage, and they've been kept down by dictatorships and oppressors. Even in the West, we're not totally free. We're often given the illusion or the impression that we are, but we're not. With the little bit of freedom we have, we don't see that there are confined, you know, compartments, whether it be of a paradigm or of an emotional attachment to something, you know. But the beauty of it all is that we cannot but become that. All the things that take place, that are even the forces that are trying to keep us from connecting to the real is, the real you, the real I, that is an us, that is the is. It cannot win. It is just logically impossible, because all the conflict and all the things do not continue. There's no final person to stop it. There's no force, there's no powers, there's no principality that ultimately can stop it. It will go as it will go, even through the violence and the struggles. Look at what is happening on the earth right now. We are at war in ourselves. It is a very big spiritual war to become, and some people are on the cutting edge of paradigms. I hope to say you and I are trying to be on the forefront of the edge of consciousness, pushing, and others are having a hard time letting go of this earth. You see, it's like one mind sort of fighting itself, pulling itself in other directions. We are connected, we are one. Part of ourselves are trying to push for this great spiritual awakening, this understanding, this love, this knowing, because we are ready to leave this kind of existence. These short mortal lifetimes are, you know, a necessary tragedy, is what I would call it. But it's all necessary. I mean, death is nothing to be afraid of either. You don't stop existing. We hope to live on. We don't want to stop because we can't. You know, we're not computers that say, well, they don't have a mind, they don't have a self-awareness. They talk about artificial intelligence. Even that's rubbish, because that's all programmed. It can only be as good as it is programmed to be. But we're the ones with the hopes and the thoughts and the dreams to become. So on the other side of the pole are the people that are having a hard